Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me, your host, Paul Golding, live from the Britain First headquarters in Greater Manchester. Joining me on this news discussion show is the one and only Tommy Robinson. Say hello, Tommy.
Hello, Paul. Good to see you.
I'd like to start with your new book that's come out recently. You brought one out a few years ago, which was called The Enemy of the State. And it was very, very popular, very successful. I think it was a bestseller on Amazon.
Yep, it went to bestseller a couple of times. And then I brought out Silence. So Enemy of the State brings my life. It's my life story up to when I was up to 2015. And I was hoping I wouldn't have another story, the same amount of madness to tell, but I have had. So that was called Silence. I brought it out. It went on Amazon. It was rising through the charts. And after 5 days, they banned it. So
they banned it.
Didn't ban this one.
Amazon, a company that specializes in selling books, is now banning books.
You can buy Mein Kampf. You can buy Hitler's book.
Of course, yeah.
In every translation. But you can't buy. And it's mad. It's ironic. Look at the name of it. Silenced.
Yeah.
Amazon go and silence it. But yeah, and so it's banned, which means that where we'd ordered thousands and thousands of books because the sales were going great, there's now a room at a friend's place that has a room full of books that no one knows where to buy them. It's so annoying.
So where can people buy your book now? Where's it available?
trsilence.com. And this is a great time, Paul. Your book, Battle of Britain, wasn't it? Battle of Britain? I wanted that name as well.
Battle for Britain, yeah.
Battle for Britain. Oh, it was a name I was thinking of as well.
It was. I remember, I thought, I'm going to call mine The Battle for Britain. And then I saw that you came out of prison in 2018 and you posted up, I can't remember what it was, but you said, I'm going to bring out a book that's going to be the follow-up. It's going to be called The Battle for Britain. And then we met up a few months later, and I was like, Tommy, you can't call it that. I've called dibs on that. I've called shotgun on that one.
Yeah. I had lots of different working titles, but I remember it, man. And
I think Silenced works brilliantly, though. I mean, like you say, it makes the point, and it's already being silenced. It's so ironic.
And yours, where's yours for sale?
Mine is for sale on Amazon and the Britain First website. Now, I think The Enemy of the State is available on Amazon still.
It's still on there, yeah. It's still on there. But TR Silence, and you know the best thing about this is Secret Santas, yeah? So if you've got a Secret Santa to do, and you've got some lefty with red hair in your office, yeah? Get one of these. Ruin their Christmas. Ruin their Christmas and help ours.
Cause a few cardiac arrests over Christmas.
Yeah, that's it. So
yeah, when we publish this online later this evening, we'll put a link to Tommy's latest book on the post at the bottom.
Thanks.
I've read your first one. I must admit, I haven't read your second one yet. I haven't got round to it, but I'll if you can send me a copy, or I'll go onto your website. I'll buy one. I'll give that a read over Christmas. Okay, let's fly into the news. First of all, there's a few things I want to discuss that aren't really related to the news. But since I finally got you on the show, I want to talk about things like, the Hope Not Hate documentary that you released recently, which was a huge success. I think, it's had hundreds of thousands of views on our very limited social media accounts.
Temporarily limited.
Temporarily, yes. We'll come to Twitter in a bit. But just to emphasize just how dishonest this organization Hope Not Hate is, I just want to focus for a moment. I'll bring up our first overlay. So this is the Hope Not Hate Twitter account. Yeah. As you see there, it's got the blue check. They got 109,000 followers, which I don't think's real.
They get about 2 likes.
It's always the same. 2 likes, 2 shares, 2 retweets. It's pathetic, really. The engagement is pathetic. But in the header here, you can see an advert for The Walk-In, which was an ITV drama, which was on recently, based on the true story of how Hope Not Hate stopped a far-right murder plot of a member of parliament. Now, people were saying, a lot of people online on Twitter were congratulating Hope Not Hate, and that's a good deed. If you stop someone from being murdered, that is a good deed. But as you showed in your documentary recently, Hope Not Hate is built on a mountain of lies. It's just pure fabrication, deception, the whole lot. Everything they do is just paying people to lie, blackmailing people to lie. I urge everyone at this point to go and watch. I mean, we can both say we'll both repost the documentary later.
100%.
what we've got left on social media, because you really do need to watch that, because it just proves beyond a doubt
how they work.
Hope Not Hate is built on a mountain of lies.
The main point is that on their Twitter page, it says based on a true. Yeah. There's no truth in anything they do. So, and you know what they do, which is what we proved with the documentary and the film, is they step in where the police can't. Yeah, the police can't entrap you. They can't set you up. There's laws preventing them from doing these things. The media, the BBC, can't come and pay you and say, we'll give you 20 grand if you say this. Yeah. They can. And then they work with the media and they work with the police. So they come in and do things that none of those people can do. Yeah. And then they basically build the story. Nick Lowell's may as well write the stories. Yeah. They have it ready. And they have the same handful of journalists from the same publications who are at their book launches, who operate with them, who work with them. It is just a propaganda machine. Yeah? It's a very well-oiled machine. And then even this, Nick, even this, Paul, we had all the messages given to us from Nick Lowell's when he was contacting Danny Tomo's missus, yeah? And what he was saying to her, he was waiting for when he was going to release his book, yeah? The book that he was doing about me, and he was waiting to find out, because they were working alongside the documentary makers. And I also know that they were also working alongside another documentary makers, whether that hasn't come into fruition because they've been found out as liars. We get onto the lies in a minute. We can get, but even on his recent book, which is a joke, it was being publicised by the Daily Mirror. In the first story they put out, the Daily Mirror and the Guardian, they had to retract, and they've already had to retract and change it because it was full of lies. Yeah, it's full of lies. And then the Daily Mail went from running the story each day to not mentioning it again in the book, because they must have realised it. They would have realised if they'd have watched the documentary that I made, they would have seen exactly how they operate. They'd have seen and proven the lies and the fraud that they commit. But yeah, it was the
good thing about the documentary is, like, I sent it to my local MP. We did a little campaign where people could send that documentary to the local MP. My MP came back and said, I'm not really interested in what Tommy Robinson's got to say. But it wasn't just, you was the host of that documentary, but it was jam-packed with irrefutable audio and video evidence. It's like Tom Foley, for example, said that he'd met with Hope Not Hate and they got him stoned and they given him drugs. He said that from the horse's mouth. Andy Edge said, yes, I've met with Hope Not Hate. And then when you confronted Nick Lowell, he admits, yes, of course we've met with Hope Not with Andy Edge.
Yeah, he admits it. And even when I look through, because Nick Lowell's contacted me with lots of allegations that he put to me, yeah? And when he contacted me and put me the allegations, bearing in mind, Caelan Robertson, when this documentary come out, Caelan Robertson messaged my ex-wife saying they are still doing it to me. Caelan Robertson now works for Byline Times. Yeah, this is just like this documentary come out a few months back. Caelan Robertson at that time, I have the message that he sent to my ex-wife saying, I'm so thankful for what Tommy's just done. Yeah, because Hope Not Hate tried to destroy my life. I'm still dealing with the mess from it now. Yeah, they blackmailed him. They sexually assaulted him. He was raped. Yeah. And these are all from covert recordings that he says, not me. So it's not Tom Robertson saying it. And they're still doing it now. And so bearing in mind that Caelan Robertson is on record as saying all these things. When this journalist, when Nick Lowell's messaged me, he sent me 36 allegations. I just replied saying, who's your source? Yeah, because we know he creates his sources. He actually messaged back, Caelan Robertson. I just put a page full of laughing faces. Like, get off of my computer, get out of my email. You mad, you absolute joker. Yeah. How he can be described as an investigative journalist is way beyond me. He's a fraud who blackmails, who scares and intimidates, and who creates source of information with the unlimited finance that he has. Do you know he done? When we were talking about it, obviously I went bankrupt. Yeah, they financially destroyed me. Right now, I had an investigation by a insolvency investigation team. They put it to the top team in London. They must have got told there's no money. Yeah, 3 weeks before I'm discharged from bankruptcy, Nick Lowell steps in. Right, we're going to stop him being discharged. Yeah, donate to us £200,000. They got. Yeah. 3 weeks later, what happened? I got discharged from bankruptcy. Huh? Where's the money? Where's the money? He goes on about grifting. He uses me. It's all he's done is use me to grift, to make money, to financially. He lives in a £1 million house. Yeah. He keeps going on about all these other stuff. It's absolutely insane. But anyway, he was exposed well on the documentary. The sad state of affairs is that not one journalist picked it up, just like Panorama.
And also like the Twitter files that Elon Musk has just dumped.
No one's reported it.
Silence from the media. It doesn't fit the narrative, so it's buried.
It's quite good, I think, because it shows everyone how corrupt they are and how controlled they are. So even the people who weren't on our side of politics, looking at the Twitter files, which is massive, millions of people watched it. I think 1.1 million people were in on the live stream listening.
Yeah,
they're all aware now. The media are not there to report the news. Yeah, they are not acting to report the news, which is what Elon Musk says he wants Twitter to be, the source of information where people can go and get the news. Yeah, we ain't getting it from the mainstream. We ain't getting it from the media.
No, and that's hurting their credibility. It's destroying
them. They're destroying themselves by not reporting on it.
So since the documentary came out and you exposed a lot of Hope Not Hate operatives in that documentary. I think I've got a list here somewhere. Where's it gone?
They're just the ones that we exposed as well, because I only exposed them when I had the covert recordings of them admitting it. They've got so many operatives.
Yeah. I know off the top of my head, I could probably name 3 or 4 more. But the actual evidence against them is a bit more shaky. When the ones that were included in documentary was where you had ironclad audio and video evidence. Proof. So people like Andy Edge, Tom Foley, Jada Franson, Speaker's Corner Steve, you proved beyond a reasonable doubt against all of them that they were working hand in glove with Hope Not Hate.
Yeah, but do you know how many people on our side of politics are? It's insane. So if you knew, so the weekend that I was put in prison for the Leeds case, that weekend, which is a weekend where George and Kaylin had stole the business bank card, and they went and spent £2,000-3,000 that weekend. They had a party. They paid Just Eat. They must have spent about £1,500 at Just Eat, on the business bank card. So they had this big party in London. Do you know how many people on our side of politics Hope Not Hate were present? Yeah. And a lot of other people who are sitting around, one very close to Nigel Farage, all present with Hope Not Hate at a party. Yeah? You look, and this is where it gets really dirty, and if people understand what's going on, if you understand the infighting within movements, it's all orchestrated. People are receiving money to do it. The attempts to discredit people, it's an operation, an ongoing operation. And if you look at, I'll use Speaker's Corner Steve as an example. He was on our side of politics. He was speaking up for us. I've actually got video footage of him. He was helping us with the surveillance of the Muslim grooming gangs. Yeah, he was there with us, which is where they get a lot of their information from. So a lot of the information was coming back. It's from him. He then started smear campaigns against me, which we found out about. And then we find out he's working with Hope Not Hate. This is a man who couldn't get a job and couldn't go on holiday. I think he's just come back from Thailand. He's been to his whole life since getting into cooperation with Hope Not Hate has changed. And it's changed in the sense that within weeks of him coming into agreement with Hope Not Hate, he's mainstreamed. He's now standing for an election for the Reform Party, which the Reform Party meant to be the party that people can turn to. Yeah. He's Hope Not Hate. He's standing for MP for the Reform Party. And Kaylin Robertson, who was working with Hope Not Hate, he goes out regularly drinking, when you look at the pictures and who they cooperate with the presenters from GB News, it's all intertwined. Yeah. Hope Not Hate are the enemy. I can tell anyone on our side of politics. They're trying to destroy us, discredit us, and attack us. If you are working or you're in cooperation with them in any way, then you are facilitating the enemy and you're not on our side of politics. You're not trying to save this country. You're not trying to prevent what's happening. They want open border immigration. They want to destroy this nation. They want to facilitate people. They want to, so what comes from it for Speaker's Corner Steve, it mainstreamed him. It mainstreamed him with GB News. They put him straight forward, and it's all with Hope Not Hate. For example, even Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern couldn't get a visa to get into Australia or the United States. Comes to an agreement with Hope Not Hate. When we released footage of our documentary, straight away Lauren Southern went online within days, put out a big hit piece about me, saying all these facade of lies. What does she get in return? We know what she got in return. She got entry into the United States because she got a reference from Hope Not Hate. So the reason she weren't allowed into those countries because she was linked to the far right, she then received a reference from Hope Not Hate. She gets entry into America. She gets entry into Australia. I think she gets a job with Sky News at the time. I don't know. Yeah. But what it does is it opens the door for these traitors, yeah, to push forward with their new agendas. And that agenda is financially supported, as we see. They become working for the left, working alongside the left, and then, attempting to counter, discredit or destroy anyone previously on their side of politics.
Well, have you noticed that as soon as you point the finger at them and say you're working with Hope Not Hate, they're always denying it. I've seen people do.
Speaker's Corner Steve did. Speaker's Corner Steve did.
No.
Mad thing is, I don't know if he knew he was being recorded, but he's like, yeah. And?
But we saw Andy Edge denied it. We saw Tom Foley denied it. Jada Franson's been denying it. Boom. Here's some audio recordings of you admitting it.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to peddle themselves as honest nationalists, honest patriots. And you've got audio recordings or videos of them admitting it.
Covert recordings when you're not aware you're being recorded. So you're telling the truth, you're speaking because you think you can say it, you're in an argument, so you think you can tell the truth. It's all been recorded. Yeah? It's all been recorded. You are, and I can't believe. Well, actually, they're gone anyway. Where's Andrew Edge now? Working alongside Mohammed Akanji, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. The artist bride solicitor. Yeah, he's in bed with him. This is supposed to be a patriot and a nationalist. People like, John Lawrence, James Goddard, all gave him a platform to peddle his nonsense. We told them, look, he's working for Hope Not Hate.
Oh, but they're all the same. Well, I'm not John Lawrence, but Mr. Goddard. It's the same. It's the same.
I class people who, if you know someone's Hope Not Hate and you give them a platform, you're just as bad as them.
Yeah, you're working with them. You're working with them.
So look, forgetting your documentary for a moment, since that came out, Hope Not Hate has been cooing to high heaven about this ITV drama, this true story about the heroic Matthew Collins of Hope Not Hate, working in the background to sabotage and derail a plot to murder a member of parliament. And they've built their entire organisation around this for the last 6 months or so.
Probably raised £1 million. Probably raised £1 million.
Exactly. So let's just watch the trailer from this show, because we're gonna expose again just how much this organisation, even the things that they're getting patted on the back by the establishment, it's all lies, it's all bullshit. So let's just watch this trailer.
Look at this fella here. He was one of the leading lights in the far right in this country.
I've written a piece about national action being the biggest threat from the far right.
That's me in that photograph 20 years ago.
We need to be stronger, ready for the war that's coming.
We've got to get someone inside this group. I did some bad things.
You're not that person anymore. I don't think it's good for you living on your own. You need to mix with people more.
Welcome to the Islamic Republic of Bradford. If they are planning something, we won't know about it until it's too late.
We need that walking. Why do you want to join National Action?
I get frustrated. First sign of any trouble, you call me.
We need his name.
He's trying to help us.
You're out of your depth.
Are we going to have to move again?
He's got kids on there. Find them.
What's going on, Robbie?
Nothing is going on. This is the murder of an MP. Exactly what National Action have been waiting for.
The Walk-In, Monday, 3rd of October on ITV and ITV Hub.
God, aren't we all glad for Hope Not Hate? Saving our MPs. Apart from the MP that this programme revolves around, whose life they allegedly saved, came out and said this. The Walk-In. MP Rosie Cooper criticises, quote, stupid ITV series dramatising real-life far-right plot to kill her. God, dear. And they brought out some big gun actors, didn't they? Steve Graham, he's a Hollywood actor.
I was gutted that he took part in this. Gutted.
What's the other guy? His second name's Fleming. He's been in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and lots of other films.
Because didn't she come out and say that they have just grifted and just fundraised off the back of a lie?
So what she actually said was, I have been used as a marketing tool by Hope Not Hate and ITV. There it is in black and white. Now, the interesting thing I've found about this is that if we go back 15 years ago, when Hope Not Hate was able to put out like 1,000 activists in East London to stop like Nick Griffin being elected to Parliament, something like this, an MP completely rubbishing all of their claims wouldn't have seen the light of day. It would have been like the Twitter dump, the Twitter files. It would have been suppressed, covered up. But to be fair, what the MP said, that she said, it's all rubbish. She said, they're just using me as a marketing tool, a fundraising grift. That information was blasted across the whole of the British media, like widespread. Every single outlet covered it. Her saying that Hope Not Hate are just lies.
Dramatising and lying, fabricating. I don't trust even you know that man's conviction, because I know what Hope Not Hate do. I know how they pay people to lie. I know how they entrap. I know all of their tactics, which we proved in the documentary. How can you even trust his conviction? I don't trust any of it. I do not trust it. Do not trust it. I do not trust it.
Well, we can see with specifically Andrew Edge. Andrew Edge admits, I met with Hope Not Hate. They paid me. And then he started coming out with a load of lies. And then Nick Lowles, you confronted Nick Lowles, and he said, yes, we've met with Andy Edge. Andy Edge says, yes, they've paid me loads of money. They were I think the amount was 20 grand, wasn't it? Exactly the same amount that they paid Jada Franson.
20 grand, but even in the Caelan Robertson footage, so basically they got him, they blackmailed him because he'd give them information about lots of people on the far right. Yeah? He'd give them information, so they blackmailed him that they were going to release him working with them, which would have at the time destroyed his credibility in his career. Yeah, so they were using that, saying you've got to help us bring down Tommy. Yeah, then they bring in Panorama because we're working alongside Panorama on this, just as in Northern Ireland with Jada Franson, but they're working alongside Panorama. When Panorama sit down with Caelan Robertson sits there, says a few things about me. They stop the meeting. Yeah, Nick Lowell says, outside. They take Caelan outside and say, this ain't good enough. Yeah, you better give us more. You better say more about him. So this is not journalism. Yeah, but what most people don't see this going on. And then they just see someone sat there, whether it be Jada Franson saying, well, I had to leave the house, yeah, or whether it be Caelan Robertson sitting saying, Tommy Robinson done this, and he's such a bad guy, and he's so extreme, and all these mad things he done, yeah. He's just getting paid. He's just getting blackmailed, and he openly says he's getting blackmailed. And but the media, for example, the Independent newspaper, they keep going back to Caelan. I guarantee you, again at some point, there'll be headline stories with negative stories about me, and it will say the source. Yeah. The source is Caelan, who's already admitted he's been blackmailed, already said he's under influence of them, and he's scared, he's intimidated, already said he's been sexually assaulted by them. Yeah, but they'll use him again. Yeah, just to get the headline. I had a good
example in Northern Ireland, didn't I? I remember showing you it. Do you remember when the newspaper, the Sunday World in Northern Ireland, said Paul Golding has got £100,000 in Moscow bank accounts?
Yeah, according
to a source. Now, the only person who said anything remotely like that is Andy Edge, who has been paid by Hope Not Hate, and he's admitted it.
But what we give people in that documentary, which is why it was a very important documentary, and although we're off the mainstream social medias, we hope we'll be back on. I will forever pump these stories, yeah, so people see who this organisation is and how they operate. The reason it's so important is we got to show you some of them. So when you're reading the headlines, who is the source each time? How much have they received in money? Are they under the influence? Are they being blackmailed? Have they been given drugs? Have they been sexually assaulted? All of these things. But we just showed you the ones we had total 100% evidence of. This news story said this. Here's the man saying he was paid. This news story said this. Here he is saying he's blackmailed. So we showed all these stories, but that's happening across the board. We don't need the British state to take your free speech. They don't need the police to interfere, really, because they have the NGOs, the well-funded, George Soros-funded NGOs like Hope Not Hate, who come in, ADL in America. They come in, and it's their job is to silence everyone, you know, through whatever means. That's what you realise as well. Through whatever means.
And they're touted as legitimate sources, yeah.
And they tout them as, and they have them ready so that the media read the story. And do you know how bad it is, even like for myself, to sit and watch newspaper stories that are being pumped and are going to end up being seen by all the parents at your children's school, everyone with these outlandish allegations about you, based on the source of information who is already proven as unreliable, and they don't care. It's all about the headlines. It's all about discrediting and destroying you.
Yeah. Right, well, dovetailing into this, I'd like to bring up a story here that caught my eye. I've noticed recently, I don't know if you've noticed, that the media, in my opinion, the establishment knows that this country, there's a lot of angry people, and it seems to be growing. There's a groundswell of anger and discontent regarding what's happening, especially like with illegal immigration and many other issues. People are really angry. So the establishment, they need to tie all of that anger up in a dead end, in a safe dead end, like a safety valve. So let me just bring this up. So this is from Breitbart. Nearly 6 in 10 Brexit voters would back an anti-mass migration party over Tories, and it's all about reform. Now, you've been around for a long time now, and so have I. We both know that if you are a genuine threat to the establishment, a genuine threat to the orthodoxy and the status quo, you will be savaged by the media. And here it is, reform being put on a platform, being boosted, being talked up across the board. This type of artificial promotion, in my opinion, proves more than anything else that reform is not the answer to our problems, and that they're not actually a threat to the establishment.
They will savage you, or at best totally ignore you. Yeah. So if we look at reform, the thing that absolutely undoubtedly proved to me what was going on was the UKIP, what was it called? The Inner Council, was when Jared Batten takes over as NEC. Jared Batten takes over as UKIP. He mixes with working class people. They start soaring through their membership. Their membership was growing faster than it's grown. They started growing as a party, putting thousands and thousands together on the streets. And the NEC decided to remove him. It's like the leader that Nigel Farage chose the time before that was purposely chosen to smash the party so it didn't work. Yeah. And then we have the NEC step in. They remove Jared Batten. Who can even name who's in charge of it now? God knows, yeah? Who even hears of them anymore, yeah? But it was purposely done to destroy the party from within, because the NEC was being influenced by the establishment. So all it ever was meant to be, UKIP, all it was ever meant to be was a pressure outlet that was still under their control, yeah? Still under their control. And anytime it looked like it would go anywhere, they'd bring it down, which is exactly what they've done. Now, you're using the example of Breitbart. I'll just use the example of Speaker's Corner Steve. If Reform are to be taken seriously as an organisation, that man is on record. Yeah, we know he's on record spreading fabricated false allegations against me, which we know he has no evidence of. Yeah, since he started working with Hope Not Hate, and then when he's asked about Hope Not Hate, he admits he's in bed with them, admits he's been meeting with them, admits he's been working with them. Yeah, the allegations are he's been paid by them. Okay, and then from that point, he's thrown onto GB News, which. You can't even mention Tommy Robinson's name on GB News, yeah, because I am a genuine truth teller, yeah, who can't be controlled. When you can be controlled, you're stuck on the TV, yeah, you're pushed forward, and you're given a spot as going to stand as an MP and if you, I don't know if you've seen recently, I believe it's Manny at Speaker's Corner has a video, an alleged video of Speaker's Corner Steve using the term "packy" to describe someone. But it is like they are. The alarm bells are everywhere, and you're totally right. The media actually, with UKIP, with Nigel Farage, the Brexit party, yeah, they basically supported it.
Yeah,
it was mad. They didn't. It's like, it just they jumped behind it straight away. It's like that's not normal.
Well, Speaker's Corner Steve was an interesting one. Obviously, I was in amongst, the Andy Edges, the Tom Foleys, the Jada Fransons, but the Speaker's Corner Steve was an interesting one for me because we found that footage, didn't we, where he's on Speaker's Corner and he's saying Tommy Robinson is a genuine hero. This is not me saying it. It was Speaker's Corner Steve. It was coming out his mouth when he was surrounded by Islamists. Tommy Robinson's a hero. All this kind of stuff. Then he meets with Nick Lowles, and then there's more footage saying Tommy Robinson's a grifter. He's a scam artist.
He's a fraud.
Like, what the hell happened to you? Did you bump your head or something? But
we know what happened.
It's classic.
But,
yeah.
But it's more than just influence, because they opened the doors. He's there. The thing that done it for me is after all of this, he's then on GB News, sitting in the studio.
Yeah,
it's like you're on GB News. I see people ask questions all the time. When we're doing our documentaries, they wouldn't even speak to the girls from our documentaries, yeah, they cut. Someone mentioned my name. They had a professor on, and he spoke about me. They cut it out. They cut my name out. It's like you're not even allowed to mention my name on GB News. So I just look at all of it. I think, look, I'm not going to deny the great work that some of their presenters do. I'm not having a go at their presenters in any way. What I'm saying is, somewhere in there is an element of control. There's control, totally controlling and opening doors for certain people and closing them for others. Now, if you're going to be a free speech platform and you're going to base yourself on the fact that we are the people who are not afraid to say what's going on, and we're going to basically interview anyone, that's what they base themselves on. But then you censor people, delete people's names being mentioned, and open doors to what are Hope Not Hate plans, which everyone's aware of, then it's concerning.
Well, the good thing is, we'll come on to the next subject now, which is free speech and Twitter and so on, what's happening there. But let's just say, with regarding all of this Hope Not Hate stuff, that if we do get our sizable Twitter accounts back at some point in the future, that all of this regarding Hope Not Hate will be posted relentlessly every single day. They'll be tagged, they'll be hashtagged, and we'll get all of this information, because at the moment we are quite neutered to a degree. We're on the alternative platforms like Telegram and Getter, so our reach is quite limited. But if we're ever back on Twitter, we can parcel all of this information up, all of these examples, and blast them up on Twitter. I'd happily spend money on adverts to get people to see all of this information, because once they see even just this thing about the drama series, The Walk-In, just total rubbish. It's all fabrication. Even when people see that, they'll think Hope Not Hate is not reliable. It's just all lies.
Nick Lowes admitted. Nick Lowes, who works with many of our politicians, their chairs on his group, yeah. And this is what I'd do. I'd be quote tweeting all of them, yeah. He admitted, and he went to Luton and he met Pakistani heroin dealing grooming gangs, and he sat down with them, yeah, spent time with them to get negative things said about me. It's like, are you mad? He actually has been working alongside rapists in Telford to attempt to discredit us, because all he wants is the headline. All they want to find is one person to come out against you. They don't care about the girls being raped. They don't care about the people who are buying heroin and hooked to heroin in Luton. They don't give a shit about any of it. They just want to sit down, get their headline, and then all it comes out as is a source. The maddest thing about me was when I confronted Nick Lowes, he just admitted it. Yeah. He didn't even deny it. You know what it is? Because he knows he is the establishment. He's in with all of them, yeah? Whether it be MI5, wherever they're operating, however they're working, yeah? He's in the middle of it, yeah? And so he's got no concerns. He's that cocksure that he just laughed. Yeah. And what? Basically, that's what his attitude was.
I remember it verbatim. I remember you showing me the footage and I was like, wow. Because you said something like, you create your sources, you pay for your sources, and his response immediately was,
so what?
Organic. So what? It's better than drug dealing.
Yeah.
Well,
what?
You couldn't make it up.
And even in, you know, in his latest thing, what he put, which is where he says that HMRC told him, like they'd tell someone anything. Yeah? Like HMRC told him that I have made my money from criminality. That's as if HMRC are telling him anything. Yeah. Well, he must think he's so important. But I don't know. It's just
HMRC. But again, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. HMRC is a government ministry. It's bound by the Data Protection Act. They wouldn't give any details, any details at all to anyone.
He was hoping that these headlines of these false allegations he was putting back against me would be pumped around the world. And in their first headline that they put out, yeah, there was so many lies in it, which were totally proven as lies by the people who they made the accusations against. So the papers wrote back saying, we apologise and we're going to remove that. And all these different things, yeah. So that's just one. Even in the first write-up to his book, yeah, I said, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Everything's wrong. It's like it was a clown had wrote it. It's comedy, comical.
It's fiction, isn't it? It's just fiction.
It's mad. Yeah, but the other thing is, Paul, you've been on Amazon, yeah? So you can check the book count of how many books sell. So you can see what number it goes to. Mate, he must have sold about 50 books. He spent a year writing a book that he got 15 quid for times 50. He's made £700 and he had to buy the books.
Yeah.
But Nick, just so you know, this sold 50,000 books. Never mind, Nick. Oh, mate.
And you might notice at the bottom of the screen, it doesn't say Tommy Robinson. It says, don't let Nick Lowes babysit.
People know.
Yeah, I think that the game is up for them to a degree.
No, mate, no one's seen nothing yet. The game will be up as soon as we're on mainstream. As soon as we're back on, yeah, I've got so much more dirt on them. So much more.
I do remember, because it's like back
remember going through it.
2009 when I was elected as a councillor. You know, I won an election in the southeast in Swanley in the southeast. I remember those days, and Hope Not Hate was quite a fearsome outfit. If they came up with something, a headline, a story like they try to do now, it would have been across the board. But I've noticed that even like with the Andy Edge claims against me, that I've got millions of pounds in Moscow bank accounts and all this, the only newspaper that run with that was some fringe comic in Northern Ireland called the Sunday World, which is, everyone knows it's just it's just a work of fiction, really. It's satire.
It's satire. It's satire, but it's also worrying because it's worrying because certain big corporations, that I believe dispatches, recently were still working alongside Hope Not Hate to fabricate stuff. Yeah, to edit and fabricate. We've seen what they've done with Panodrama, which everyone saw it, and they just hope that more people see the mainstream than see our exposés of how they operate, and that's what they rely on. And by cancelling
at the moment, it's a lopsided fight because they've got access to the mainstream, we haven't. But I've just noticed that the amount of people who take them seriously these days, compared to 15 years ago, is microscopic. I think they really have gone too far on too many occasions. Let's move on now. Let's bring the next slide up. So I assume you saw this. Should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspended accounts, blah, blah, blah. And he did this the week before with Donald Trump and unbanned him. And then he posted this up. The people have spoken. Amnesty begins next week. This next week actually was the week just gone.
Yep.
So we're behind schedule. But in the meantime, we've had Apple threaten to take Twitter out of the App Store, and then he deployed a lot of pressure on them, got them to back down. I think at this stage, if I remember rightly, we were more focused on Facebook back then. We had like 2 million on Facebook or something like that. We didn't really bother with Twitter. So if we get our accounts back, it'll only be like, I think it was 50,000 people. Yours was much, much bigger. I think it was more approaching 500,000.
I deleted my life to concentrate on Twitter. Twitter was my thing. And what a lot of people have seen now is when they've got their accounts back, or since Elon Musk has taken over, their followers have gone like this. Yeah. So they were obviously banning and blocking people from being able to find the accounts and follow. And even if you were still on there, even if you were one of the conservative voices on the right, and you still had your account, you weren't gaining followers, you weren't reaching people. That's all being undone now. The web of lies, how they operate is being shown. At the minute, I was. There's no better case. I know it's me saying it, so I'll be favourable. There is no better example of someone that should have their account back. My account was removed for stating that 90% of grooming gang convictions are Muslim men and 30% are called Mohammed. That's a fact. That's what they warned me over. They said they'll remove me. Then I said Islam promotes killing people. Yeah? There's 100 verses in the Quran that promote killing people. That's a fact. That can be proven fact. There's many Muslims that accept that as a fact. Most imams know will admit that's a fact. So why should I have my account removed? So I hope we get it back, but I don't think anyone can comprehend what they are probably onslaughting him with. The attacks and the investigations are now being launched against him. They will not stop now until they destroy Elon Musk. He either fights, and shows everyone and puts it out there for everyone to see how they've operated, the unfair treatment of conservatives, the two-tier system that have created, the silencing of people, and the links with big tech and the Biden rage, or just the Democrats in general, the FBI, how it's all been working, which everyone needs to see. And I think that he's also aware that they don't want, as I said, my Twitter account, I reached 172 million people in 4 weeks. And they know that if we get our Twitter accounts back, groups like Hope Not Hate are about to be embarrassed to the world, as are all of the politicians, all of the celebrities that have lied about me. And for the last 5 years, they just post things as a matter of fact, which I can prove are a lie. When I had my own social media, I'll just go on and quote tweet it and put the fact and show the evidence, which is what I would look forward to doing again. Being able to fight my own corner and give people the truth rather than the media distorted, establishment distorted, far left distorted version of events.
So yes or no question. Do you think we're going to get our banned accounts back in the new year? I personally think that he's waiting right now because he's had a lot of people, a lot of the left in America kind of line up the wagons around him. I think he's waiting until the Republicans take the House of Representatives in early January to give him a shield of cover. That's what I think. I think he wants to do the amnesty, but he's kicking it down the road to that point. What do you think?
I think it would be too good for us to be giving back our accounts. It's something too good to be true because of the world stage and where we're at. But I think that the time that everyone can judge whether Elon Musk is for free speech or not is whether certain people like us get our accounts back. People who have not broken law, not been arrested for any hate crime, didn't say anything hateful, gave facts, statistics, and were removed for their political opinions. So I think there's more of a judge on Elon Musk than it's a judge on us. And that's when people will see where he actually does stand on free speech. I think he has the opportunity to be remembered, not for all the amazing work or businesses he's done, but for the fight for the survival of free speech and the total control that they've attempted to put over the population to push their narratives. It's probably the biggest.
He seems to be digging his heels in. He
doesn't seem scared, which every time I just sit there laughing and clapping. Yeah, he doesn't seem scared. And look, well, time will tell whether he turns out to be an amazing legend. Yeah, and that's not a legend for right-wing politics. Yeah, or it's a legend for freedom of speech, which in any civilized society is the bedrock of it. It's needed. How else are we going to shine a light on error or lies? It's like. And if we want to be controlled with one agenda and one narrative of control from one political party to control the people, basically communism, which is what they've done. They've aligned and they've cooperated and they've took over. It's like when Nick Clegg was put into a position of power in Facebook. It's like they're just totally, and then that's when I was removed, I believe, after that. But again, when they're removed, it's not just that they remove you; they lie. Facebook put out a statement in the BBC saying I called for the beheading of Muslims. Never done that. I've been arrested. There's no screenshot of it, no evidence of it, which there would have been. There's nothing, but they just pump the lies. And do you know how frustrating it is? You know how frustrating it is because it happens to you. Sitting there, seeing people make comments about a lie, that you can't even counter. So they're just going to tell the entire world's population who we are, lies about us, and we don't even get an opportunity to give our version of events, which is free speech.
Yeah. I remember sitting in my prison cell in HMP Elmley in Kent. And I was sitting there and I was watching Prime Minister's questions. I was just sitting there eating my lunch, watching Prime Minister's questions, because you know yourself, you've been in prison many times. It's boring. You have to entertain yourself any way you possibly can. And then all of a sudden, the House of Commons bursts into rapturous applause because the Britain First Facebook page has been closed down. Unbelievable. There were 2.2 million people just gone like that.
Yeah, but the point is, they're not taking away they're taking away our voices, but they're taking away other people's ability to listen and make their own mind up. You're censoring us, but you're censoring them. Well, I had 1.2 million people. If I went live, 30,000 people tuned in. I think I had the most engaged page from UK. But you've censored all of them. You've took away their rights, and because you want to spoon feed them the media, you want to tell them how to think. You want to make sure you're in control of how they think. Which
the reason that we was given, the reason we was, like you say, you can't fight back against the lies. That's the problem. They take away your voice. So when I was sent to prison and then they took our Facebook page down as a result, it was Paul Golding's been sent to prison for, quote, anti-Muslim hate crimes. Well, no, that. You remember that because I remember you doing a video. You did a live stream.
Some men had, a girl had gone into a kebab shop. She was 15 years old, 14 years old. She was drunk and she was walking home. She got lost. She went in, asked where she was going. They took her upstairs. All of them gang raped her. Six of them had DNA. One of them was a legal immigrant. They gave them all bail. One of them done the off to Italy, I believe, at the time. Some Afghani kid, some Afghani man. You went, because they're all on bail. So when I found out they're on bail, I went down there and I went to the business down the road. I said, do you see the schoolgirls go in that shop that's still open? They just changed the name of the shop. And they said, yeah. And I said, they're still in contact with all schoolgirls. They've gang raped a child. And then that's when you went to warn people where they lived, right?
We found out where they lived. We went to their neighbours, gave them leaflets, said, just be careful of this person who lives at number 10. He's most probably a hideous gang rapist. And, just be careful. Bang! Anti-Muslim hate crimes against Muslims.
You put jail.
Straight into prison. Straight into prison.
And they were all convicted, weren't they? They're all convicted. They got 20 years in jail.
They're all convicted. They're all rotting away now, doing life sentences. I was sent to Elmley. I was attacked by a jihadi prison gang, and then they shipped me up to Liverpool because it's the whitest prison in the country, and I just stayed in there for 9 weeks.
But no one knows that. No one knows.
No one knows that. What they do know
is you've committed hate
crimes. What they do know is anti-Muslim hate crimes.
Yeah.
Which is what you was talking about before. Like they make up lies about you. We had to close him down because he said some horrible, terrible things about Muslims.
Trying to warn the neighbours who've got little children that there's a gang rapist next door who's been given bail, even though 6 of their DNAs were found on that bed, on a mattress on the floor.
Yeah, and that
6 of them.
translates to anti-Muslim hate crimes, which it wasn't. It's
You're the bad guy.
Anyone would have done that. Any father, you've got children, you would have done that. You know,
Do you see the one with me? So that bloke, this is where it is frustrating. Some bloke threatens to kill my kids, yeah? And then I went and found him, didn't I? And I found him at his house. Now, when I found him at his house, then I've got 3 children. They were in 3 different schools, yeah? So I said to the police, I've had to take my children out of school, yeah? That's what I said to the police. I've had to take my children out of school, right? Because I didn't know if he's coming to get the kids. But the truth being that my ex-wife worked at one of the schools at the time, yeah? Right? So that child didn't have to be taken out of school. And it was only mother, because she took the child to school every day with her. And then when school finishes, she brings him home. So that child didn't have to be taken out of school. But my other ones, I made sure that after the first day or two days, until we found the bloke, that they were collected, because they used to get the bus, that they were collected and these precautions were put in place. So they went to the 3 schools. So obviously the lowest school, where my youngest was obviously said to the police, no, Poppy wasn't taken out of school, yeah, at all, yeah. The headlines, the bloke who's on video saying, Tommy, I'm going to murder your children, I'm going to stab your wife. There's a video of it, right? The CPS dropped the case against him, and the headlines in the Metro, go Google this, Tommy Robinson lied to police about danger to family. It's like, that's what you got from the fact, like regardless of anything, he's on video threatening to murder my kids and my family, yeah? And you drop the case, and then the media run that I'm a liar. The media run that I'm a liar. It's like
despite the video, yeah.
Despite the video, they didn't mention the video. They didn't mention the video.
Do you remember in the documentary that you did against Hope Not Hate, you went and interviewed Ashley because Hope Not Hate turned up in the middle of an election, leafleted all of her neighbours saying that I was a Putin stooge and I
you don't pay tax.
Yeah, I don't pay tax. I put all of my money into Russia to avoid paying tax. Yeah. Now, the police came around and saw me and said, this is too far. This is malicious communications. We've got the recordings of it. We've got the recordings of it. That was no further action the other day. No, they don't get no. You've seen that documentary, the latest one that I've made, yeah? The one that there's an injunction over, yeah? The police find out, someone rings my son and they ring my ex-wife. Right? They are threatened a week before my court case off of a private number. The police, I've got all the recordings in the documentary. The police find out whose phone that was, even though they used private number, right? But then when I'm asking the police officer 3 months later, okay, so you know who it was? Yeah, we found out who it was. So have they been arrested? No, Tommy. Why not? I can't explain that, Tommy. It's like, what? And she was gobsmacked herself. She said, I just can't explain it. I said, well, what reason could there be? Why is someone threatening a little 12-year-old boy on the phone or threatening a woman, yeah, a week before my court case to intimidate me during a court trial and not being arrested? Well, it's actually a policy of the establishment to leave people like me and you in danger. Because I remember a video where you pulled up in Bury Park in Luton and Saiful Islam punched you in the face through the window, right? Now, something almost identical happened to me a few years later in the same area, just a bit further up the road. The chubby geezer, wasn't it? A big chubby Pakistani Muslim walks up to my door, punches me in the face on camera. The one with you was on camera. The one with me was on camera. So he's right, here you go. He's assaulted me in public and it's on video. What more evidence do you need? No further action. And then I don't know whether you went to the police, but I guarantee there's no further action. Saiful Islam hits me. For anyone who doesn't know, Saiful Islam means sword of Islam. Yeah, Mohammed Ishtaq Hussain, that was his actual name. Yeah, he was the main leader of the terrorist organisation. He's been in jail for terrorism, and he comes up and he punched me through the car window. Yeah, no, he doesn't get arrested, doesn't get spoken to. Months after this, I'm driving in my car. It's about 7:30 in the morning. Right? I'm driving through Luton. My mate says, Saiful Islam. I went, stop, yeah? Right. So I stopped the car. Obviously, I want to have a little chat with him, yeah? This is a man who loves death more than we love life, right? He's in his pajamas, his big dress. He runs, he pelts it, yeah? He absolutely pelts it. Now, on camera, I pelt it after him. I'm then arrested. Later that day, I'm arrested. Police swap the car. I'm arrested, and I'm like, what are you nicking me for, yeah? I'm arrested for an assault on Saiful Islam. So this big gangster jihadi who loves death more than we love life. But where he alleges he was assaulted is off camera. But I thought he punches me on. This just shows the police and these cowards.
He punches me through the face on national TV. The police refuse to arrest him. Now I've got this jihadi who gets spoken to, by me, and goes and uses British law system, legal system, to give a statement to say how he's been attacked in the street. It's just mad. I find the whole thing mad. But yeah, they do not get prosecuted. No one has ever been prosecuted for threats to kill, murder, any of the things they've done to me. How many times
even with video evidence. I could give another example. I was attacked, weren't I, in 2018, I was in HMP Elmley. I was attacked in my cell by jihadi prison gang. So when you've got the CCTV of the gang running in my cell, slamming the door, running out 10 seconds later, then I emerge covered in blood. No further action. Because they want, basically the message is to you, to me,
you're on your own.
You can oppose the establishment, but you are not going to be protected by the law.
Yeah, you're on your own. Which I sort of like, some people, that shouldn't be the way it is. But okay, right, I'm a man, I'll deal with it myself, yeah? But when they don't protect your families, and when your family are endangered or threatened, and then they still refuse to deal with it, and then you get to the point where I'm thinking now, so the system's not going to protect my kids. The system's not going to, the law are not going to be there for them to turn to for help, which is the system how it should be. All because what? I find it mad. Even when I got attacked in jail in Wood Hill, the cameras weren't recording. I'm in a room. There's a big, massive camera with a big thing that says you're on camera. Yeah. It's like camera weren't recording. It's like I just give up, man. On ever even going to the police or talking.
Yeah, there's been loyalist paramilitaries, in Northern Ireland that have been shot in prison, and all the cameras are turned off. It's deliberate. It's absolutely 100%.
It's to send a message to you. You're on your own.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've run out of time. It's been brilliant having you on, and hopefully, in the new
one more thing. Let me ask you what you got, because I made a decision that I need to take breaks, and when I take a break, as you'll probably be aware, I just blank everyone, because it's the only way I could deal with my life. When I'm on it, I'm on it, and when I'm off it, I'm off it. All right. So if I'm working, I'm there, and if not, the only way I can do it is to switch the phone off, leave it. And then I'll just have a couple of weeks of normality, because there's no normality in the politics we do.
No.
You don't seem to have that. You seem to just be always going, always, all the time. So I've just decided to, I just go, no, I'm having, if I think I'm having 2 weeks off, yeah, and I'm not talking about anything to do with this, because it's all so negative. Everything we deal with is negative.
Yeah.
It's negativity all the time. You don't seem to. You see, yeah.
Well, it's a bit different, because, I've got an organisation to run, which the wheels.
I'm so glad I
don't. But you might remember from the old EDL days, the wheels have got to keep turning, because it's an organisation. It's not just you,
mate. I remember
now you've got independence. Do you know what I mean? You can have breaks. I'd love to be able to have breaks. I'm going to be having a long break over Christmas for the new year, because
it could make me, like when I had EDL, I remember going on a stag do, and I neglected all my friends. I neglected parties, family parties, because you had to be in all these different cities dealing with everything. Yeah. I remember going on stag do, and then I had to fly home. Yeah, I remember, and it was all over the BNP trying to infiltrate the EDL. I remember flying home, and then I remember when I left the EDL, and then it was just, I was talking for myself then. I didn't have to deal with all the problems. I remember what a relief I felt. But you're right. You're in an organisation still where you have people trying to infiltrate and cause problems and all these stupid things. Media trying to infiltrate, just all the worries, and also keeping them all happy. The biggest problem we had was North, South, Midlands, trying to please them all with demonstrations at the same time. But I switch off now, and it's been so much better for me personally to be able to just. Right, when I'm working.
I think recently, you're under a lot more pressure than me, because you've got a lot of these court cases bearing down on you, all frivolous, all spurious, all nonsense, all designed to just try and break. This is it. Both of us, they try to break our will to resist. They're hoping that one day we just think, I can't take this anymore. I'm giving up. I'm going. That's it. I'm off. And
if they're listening, that ain't gonna happen, right? I'm just going to take a couple of week break and then come back swinging.
Because people, this is what they don't realise. They don't factor this into their equations. People like me and you don't have breaking points. In fact, we thrive on it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. Have you got? It might be a bit early to say, and you might not want to say, but we'll end up now. Have you got any plans for 2023? Anything on the horizon?
I have, yeah, I have, and in between, and then without saying who it is, well, I had a health scare just recently on a family member as well. So there was something that was we were about to do something, but I've had to reevaluate a couple of things to make sure that things are in place for my family. Because look, I run a life which hasn't mattered if I get in trouble, or if they want to lock me up, or even if I'm attacked, or even if I'm killed. Yeah. Because I have 3 children, but then I had to reevaluate and put things on a temporary hold until I find out where I'm at on some certain things. So in that sense, I just thought, well, I'm having a break. That's me. I'm having a break, and I'll probably but I think in the last year I produced 6 very, very well made, very well researched, very well produced documentaries. Yeah. Next year I'm going to continue with that. Yeah, I've got 2 more Telford stories in the work that are already in progress, and I've got another film which is, I'd say, the best work I've ever done. I'm just looking at legalities which I've been exploring for so long and just appealing to people. Yeah. Steve, what about you? You've got elections in you?
Yep, elections coming up in May. Can I float a suggestion your direction?
Go on.
You've probably seen it yourself. There's tens of thousands of people, I reckon, that would happily attend a Tommy Robinson protest, unity protest in Dover.
Yep. Yeah.
I think, I'm just throwing it your way. I think if you were to call something like that for, say, like early March, I think you would have a massive turnout. Britain First would 100%, publicise that and get all of our activists along. I think if you was to do that, I think it would be a massive issue and you'd have a massive turnout. It's
needed. And I think giving ourselves enough time to go would also give us, you know what I started doing? I started investigating and looking at Serco. I started to look. There was a little film that came out by Danny Roscoe and Richard Imham, which was looking at the migration crisis. What we need to look at is who benefits from it. Who's making the money? It all goes back to Tory MPs and their families. Yeah.
Churchill's grandson, Richard.
Churchill's grandson. That's who's profiting. Yeah. And that's who's facilitating. So they're not going to stop the open borders. Yeah. So as well as you could have a demonstration. In fact, let's commit to that. I'll do that. Yeah. Let's organise one way in advance where people can come. But it would also be great to have a finished product. I don't want to put pressure on myself to finish a product with all the other work. A finished product that actually lets people know why the borders are open and who's keeping them open. And the fact that
there's a racket at both ends. It's either the people smugglers are in Calais or it's the Tory MPs.
It's the Tory MPs. It's the Tory MPs. It's Serco. It's then the hotels, certain hotels, and they're all linked to the families as well. It's all intertwined. It's all linked. They're not going to stop them coming. Okay, the Barcelona Declaration, whatever the agreements are, our borders are going to remain open so long as we still keep these lot in power. They're coming. And they're coming in their numbers greater. They're going to accelerate it faster. When I'm looking at Ireland, because Ireland haven't seen this. Remember, we've seen this, but it's new to Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. Sinn Féin, people be surprised. They think Sinn Féin are nationalists. No, they're not. They're Marxists. They're going to open your borders. They're going to flood your country. Right? They don't care. They're working for it. So,
the difference with England is that we've got 60 million people in England. In Ireland, they've only got like 4 million.
So when they fill 30% of the hotels like they have now, and when they all bring their friends and they keep coming like that, it's going to be changed. Gone. Yeah. So I think with the Irish, you've all fought this war. Yeah. You've fought a war, right, against the British to get them out of your country, and then you've opened your borders. Yeah, straight away to Islamic militant gangs who have come in, beheaded gay people, raping your women. Yeah, and then I believe the IRA, have been telling people they can't protest.
Yeah.
Follow the money. It's all to do with money.
Sense? How does that make? I've said this to, the IRA, all the volunteers that fought the British for 30 years. What is your stance? Brits out, Africans in. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
But it's the money, it's the control, it's the business side of it. But that business side of it will bring the total destruction of your culture and your nation. So at some point, you're going to have to stand up. Or some people everywhere. I see they are starting to. I see the protests growing in Ireland. And the Irish people have always been fighters. So I hope that they're going to fight it. I hope that, let's look at dates for March, eh?
If you do that, we'll be 100% behind you. 100%.
All right, bro. It's good speaking to you.
All right, thanks for coming on. The link to Tommy's book is below this video. And the
Home Not Hate doc. And the Home Not Hate doc. And the Home Not Hate doc, yeah?
Yeah, we'll share that again later. Thanks very much.
See you later, Nick.
And we'll see you soon.
See you later.